Russian special forces launched a devastating assault in the western Kursk region, reclaiming several settlements in a meticulously planned operation. The attack unfolded in eerie silence, catching Ukrainian troops completely off guard. But Akhmat troops, known for their ruthless efficiency, executed a masterstroke, a deception so simple yet so effective that Ukrainian forces failed to detect the trap until it was too late. Disguised in blue insulating tape, a color commonly used by Ukrainian troops, Russian special forces infiltrated enemy lines unnoticed. The ruse allowed them to move freely, bypass defenses, and ambush Ukrainian positions with lethal precision. In an exclusive statement, the commander of the Akhmat troops shared details of this unusual but deadly ruse.
Blue insulating tapes were used to bring maximum damage. The agreement was that the guys had to be in blue insulating tapes for a day. After that, they had to completely change the blue insulating tapes to red ones. Blue and yellow insulating tapes are always used by the enemy. Our initial goal was to make the enemy think that the blue insulating tapes belong to the same unit. If the enemy's UAVs saw people in blue insulating tapes, they would think that this is their unit.
The deception proved highly effective, allowing Russian troops to strike before Ukrainian forces realized what was happening. But this was only the beginning. Another operation was already underway, deep underground. Russian special forces crawled for miles through a gas pipeline near the town of Sudzha. The suffocating tunnel provided perfect cover, enabling them to emerge inside Ukrainian defensive lines completely undetected.
I want to note that the pipe operation, this operation was prepared by the fighters from the veterans unit. Out units went into the pipe. There were a total of 5 units. The first to go into the pipe were the fighters of the Special Forces unit of Ida, Akhmat. With them, the guys from the Company V of the 30th Regiment followed. Their task was to emerge first, seize the forest opposite, take 2 supports, and secure the Kubatkin and 2 bridges. They did it perfectly, so swiftly, so beautifully, that the enemy didn't even realize what had happened.
As the first wave emerged, a second column of Russian troops struck, cutting off reinforcements and trapping Ukrainian defenders in a brutal crossfire. The assault was swift and relentless.
They were followed by the guys from the 11th Brigade, Vostok, and the Veterans Unit, who had to go to the left in the direction of Sudzha. I want to note that the Kashtan detachment, which stood at the top of Kasitsa, and it turns out, took Kasitsa that day, and went down to the Ashkov forest, closing in on the Zezulivka site. So, from the opposite side, it turns out, the 155th Brigade was coming to us, which closed in on the same site with the guys from the Kashtan detachment, Special Forces, Akhmat. Now, further, we have the Cherkasy-Poreshny.
Russian forces methodically cleared Ukrainian positions in the Cherkasy-Poreshny sector, tightening their grip on key settlements.
In the Cherkasy-Poreshny, we did all the work, the guys from the Kokhla detachment, Special Forces. Akhmat means the Highlander detachment, Special Forces, Akhmat, and the 30th Regiment also did everything beautifully. In addition to the Cherkasy-Porechny, the Highlander detachment went in the direction of Pravda, which cleared Pravda, and also made it possible to close, to get to the site where the guys from Kashtan were. So, they cleared the whole site.
Martynovka fell next as Russian forces launched a three-pronged attack, crushing Ukrainian defenses and securing complete control over the settlement.
Now let's take Martynovka. In the direction of Martynovka, 2 detachments entered Martynovka. On both sides, the guys from the Chechnya Akhmat regiment entered, who entered on both sides. Well, on the 3rd side, the guys from the St. Petersburg detachment entered there, who took from 3 directions, completely cleared the settlement of Martynovka and everything that is inside this site. In addition, it is worth noting that Regiment 1427 cleared the forest over the Kasitsia. So, in principle, in addition to this, we get the Tero Defense Regiment, which, to put it bluntly, also, as they say, he had skirmishes with the enemy, but in total, he also did his job.
With Russian troops advancing relentlessly, Ukrainian forces struggled to hold their last defensive positions near the Kursk and Belgorod border regions. The Akhmat commander warned that Kyiv's losses were becoming unsustainable.
Now the enemy, realizing that we are crushing the remnants of his forces, trying to hold these 3 settlements on our border, he throws everything there that he has and does not have, realizing that we still will not give him the opportunity to stay on our land, trying to wedge into the junction of Belgorodsk and Kursk regions. To be honest, again, this will only lead to the fact that he will have even greater losses. Well, you understand, the course of the war cannot change this in any way, because he has no resources, no strength, no means. Yes, some small resources are pulled out in order to force us to pull our resources from here. He can try to do this, but we have already freed up huge resources in order to work there and work here.
Then came a chilling warning to Ukrainian soldiers still fighting on the front lines, urging them to surrender before it was too late.
To the guys who are there, to the Ukrops who are trying to advance, I can recommend, if you really did not decide to help your narcoführer fight to the last Ukrainian, you probably need to make a decision and surrender to captivity. Therefore, surrender to captivity. Do not throw your life into the furnace of war for a drug addict. So that's the way it is. Akhmat is strength. Russia is power.
Amid intense fighting, and major development unfolded. Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump held a 2.5-hour conversation, marking a major diplomatic shift. Both Washington and Moscow confirmed a 30-day ceasefire focused on protecting energy infrastructure. However, whether this is a genuine path to negotiations or just a temporary pause remains uncertain.